Isaiah 4. I'll read this to you. It says, "In that day the branch of the Lord will be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth will be the pride and adornment of the survivors of Israel. It will come about that whoever is left in Zion and remains in Jerusalem will be called holy," so on and so forth. Verse 4, though, is what I want to read. "When the Lord has washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and purged the bloodshed of Jerusalem from her midst by the spirit of judgment and the spirit of burning." What I see issuing forth right now during this time is not only a spirit of judgment, but a spirit of burning. For upon the tares, upon the wicked, and upon the sons who still are in a point of stasis or immaturity, whether or not it was entirely the responsibility of the tares or their own heart, there comes to rest a spirit of judgment and a spirit of burning. For God has not withheld that from His sons, for we have all walked and borne the spirit of His judgment and the spirit of burning. How does Malachi go? It says, "Who can stand when He appears? For He's a refiner's fire, and He will sit as a smelter and purge and purify the sons of Levi." What is that? It's a spirit of burning. Who can stand when He appears? Who can endure the day of His coming? Because it's a spirit of burning, and it's a spirit of judgment that rests upon you, and rests upon me, it rests upon all of God's sons. That is part of the process of purging and purifying. But the tares have sidestepped it, of course, and the immature have sidestepped it, but no longer in this time that the spirit of judgment and the spirit of burning is going to rest upon the tares and the wheat that have still remained. And it's time that there will be a day of reckoning for the wheat that have stayed in a level of infancy and have become, knowingly or unknowingly, the channels of satanic assault and input against what God is doing in the earth during this time. We are determined that not only is there a flow now coming of judgment, the spirit of judgment, the spirit of burning, but there will also be a corresponding release upon the anointed, the true church, that they might truly see, and in seeing turn from the path that they have been on, by the grace of God. I'll read a few more things here and we'll just kind of meander. If the channels have been the wheat, I've already covered this, then the judgment will be corrective and will burn the shackles from their eyes. But to the tares who have protracted infancy within His church, the judgment that now goes forth is punitive. The tares that have sit in the place of power and have manipulated and controlled His people are now judged. The tares who have been the knowing or unknowing channels of an extremely hostile satanic world, this comes to an end. The tares who have been sown within the church, all of this comes to an end by the visitation of judgment and the visitation of the spirit of burning. The word came today that today, December 4th, from this time forward, we see a change by the implementation of judgment, which is in accordance with the administration of the kingdom that we've spoken of in the book. May the judgment of the Lord bring forth a quick maturing of the sons who yet remain within the whore. For we have waited for the time of the maturing of the wheat, and this time must be now. Your greatest prayer for your loved ones, and those who have been marked, but who are yet to see, is for the grace of His judgment to rest upon them. For it is in His judgment that the freedom and release will come to the sons who are still held in bondage. May the deep cords that tie be removed from within their hearts, for the seeds of deception have been sown, and these must be removed. The immunity will come to those who have walked this path of sonship for the transference of the tares and the channeling of the satanic input to the immature wheat is coming to an end, and immunity would be a product of this change. The only leverage to reach the sons who have been marked will be to see the full implementation of his judgment upon them. There will be no discussion, no coercion, and no convincing. The blindness has remained, but the spirit of burning and the spirit of judgment will break the blindness if the wheat but submit their heart. His judgments will be punitive or corrective. We have lived, we have walked this path of embracing his judgment. His judgment is not something new to his people, but they have borne his judgment, that they might also be his vehicle to bring forth his judgment. May the wheat be able to separate within their own heart the spirit of the tare and the spirit of the wheat. To change is to see. May there be a confronting within their heart as they see the tare within themselves. May they let go and allow this to be burned, that the purity of the seed of the wheat that's within their heart come forth. The inroads of Satan into the bride, into the sons, must now come to an end. That which has been the avenue through which this input has come is exposed, and it is dealt with. And there now exists within his handful the remnant, a maturity that is able to rightly discern, that is able to fully let go of the trappings of the whore. To leave the camp, to come outside the camp is of paramount importance, but the training and teaching and the limited and oppressive paradigm fostered by the tares within his people must come to an end. There must now come an ability within his chosen people to let go of the moorings of what they may have been taught, that the Spirit of the Lord might make all things new. This is a warring directive. These words will resonate over and over in the spirit realm from this time forward. It will be uttered over and over as the administration of his kingdom comes forth now. And the first order of business is that we must see the judgment upon the tares, upon the channels, and upon the hosts of wickedness. And freedom must come to his people, and the maturing process must be completed. His judgment, his spirit of burning, shall bring forth the punitive judgment upon the oppressor, and the corrective judgment upon the sons who have yet remained within the whore. This must come forth now. God's people shall be, how's it go? Wise as serpents, harmless as doves. But they shall know and understand the dynamics of how all of this works and how it has worked against them. And they will walk carefully and with great clarity to rightly discern the spirit realm that has fought against them. And this word also came, which I thought was quite interesting. In the midst of this flow of judgment, from this time forward, shall come an ending of the soul of flesh the sons have yet walked with. There will be in this climate or atmosphere judgment and change, but the completion of the work shall be done within his people. It will be the end of the soul and the full birthing of the Spirit. God's people will look back and may not even know when this change within them was completed. But it's in this climate of the administration of judgment that it shall be finished. I declare once again this night, this judgment issues forth. This night his word is carried forth on the wings of his servants to deliver a judgment that has been on hold until now. I know, and I've said this before, 6 or 7 years ago I saw the Lord withholding the judgments of the Father upon this age. And I understand now, whereas I did not then, that it was predicated upon the maturing of the wheat to come to a point where the judgment could then come forth, and that judgment would not destroy the wheat with the tare. We have come to a point now that a measure of that judgment must come forth, but it's the spirit of judgment and the spirit of burning that will bring a bundling and a separation. The cry, "Come out of her, my people," has been hindered and hamstrung because the judgment has been held in stasis until now. With the judgment upon the oppressor, his people shall walk free. On every level, the judgment issues forth, like a golden liquid from his throne. It seeks out every crack and crevice and permeates all things. Nothing will withstand his judgment. This is the prayer, this is the declaration, and I declare it is done. I believe that covers what came to us this day. But this day, December 4th, 2010, I mark on my calendar as a day of change, a dispensation, whatever. But this day is a day of change, and the judgments flow forth. And those which have been in alignment with Satan, whether they've been aware or not, shall begin to reap what they have sown, and in so doing, they shall see. That's our prayer. They shall see, and they shall change. It's imperative at this point in time. That which has fought and delayed the kingdom and put things in detente must now stop. And it's declared to be so. Amen.